Good morning, happy Tuesday, day 2, homeschooling, self-quarantine, if not more for many people. Welcome to Fascia Fix. I know there are so many amazing resources, there's a fruit fly in my face, out there right now for things to do when you are home. Things that you can work out, stay fit, do yoga, meditate, all sorts of amazing resources. So I'm so happy that I've been doing these Tuesday classes for a while now because I'm super comfortable teaching online, and I'm excited to be here today to show you some fascia stretches. For those of you that are joining me for the first time, I'm briefly going to just discuss fascia stretching and the difference between that and regular stretching. Regular stretching lengthens the muscle, you feel the stretch, and you go a little bit further to increase that flexibility. Think about flipping it upside down, and this is opposite. To fascia stretch, you shorten the area that you want to stretch. You add activation into that shortened muscle so that you're affecting the fascia, and then movement happens in the opposite direction of that resistance. You resist the whole time the movement is happening. Your brain knows that it's a closed chain, the contact, so it's very easy once you get the hang of it to know how far to go. Either your resistance stops, you hit a wall, or it falls off. So those are some things to consider as we're going through class today. This class is meant to feel good. So many of us have anxieties running high, all sorts of different things going on emotionally right now. And we want our bodies to be as healthy as possible and feel really good, because that's just gonna optimize our positiveness and working together through this all. So if you're gonna do a yoga class at home, or a fitness class, or Pilates, or whatever it is that you do, this type of stretching is wonderful, and you can access your connective tissue by doing resistance stretching. We're gonna go through just a very comfortable flow today. I have my yoga mat. I have this set up a little bit different, so I'm testing out my side here. I don't have wide angle lens yet. I do, I just actually need to put it on. And I have a blanket that I will be using for some of my stretches when I'm laying down on the ground as well. That's about it. I might play around with some stuff just kind of on a whim as I get into class. I also would recommend having some water, because we're hydrating now, and caffeine if anyone needs that as well. So grab a mat, come and join me down on the floor. Here's my little notes. So I write out my program before every night, just to have an idea of how the flow is going to work for class. Thank you to everyone who's watching me. Tune in, because I am going to be doing this regularly. I often will post to social media or stories that I'm going to be doing a class. Sometimes I might just pop on live. So if I ever do that, I always save it to my newsfeed, and then I also post it to YouTube, so you can catch it there as well. To begin, take a seat. So fascia is connective tissue, and it runs throughout our whole entire body. It gives us shape and support. We need to keep it healthy, and we're just starting to understand the need to do that. The best way to do it is to think about it very different from our regular movements and stretching. When you add activation to what you're doing, that's how you can affect the fascia. In and of itself, fascia doesn't contract and release, but our muscles do. So we're using our muscles to affect the fascia in a different way. Preparing the body before doing this is also really important, and this will give us an opportunity to bring ourselves into the practice, let the blood flow to help the circulation flow through our bodies. Taking a seat. First, think about sitting evenly on your sits bones, meaning if you're finding that you have more pressure on the right side or left side, try to level that off as best you can. Hands come to rest on your knees. Push your hands into the knees slightly and your knees up into your hands to feel your core activate. Holding that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're just waking up our body, explaining, hey, we're gonna do something right now. That's gonna feel really good. One more time, hands press down, knees press up. Hold it 5, 4, tightening your tummy, 3, 2, 1, let it rest. Working to achieve proper posture where our ears are in line with our shoulders, in line with our hips. Oftentimes when we sit down, we lift up, like we want to sit up so tall. That is great. You do want to do that, but not so much that you compromise your mid-back right here. To change that, take the rib cage in slightly. And take a moment to rest. Close your eyes. We are going to go into nose breathing. In through the nose and out through the nose. Thinking about full, soft, gentle breaths. In and out. See, I just went to mouth breathing because it's just habit. Nose breathing in and out. 2 more in and out. 1 more in and out. Opening the eyes, hands to your belly. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out under the belly. Push all those muscles. Inhale. Belly expands, chest expands. Exhale, push the breath out through the mouth. We're waking up our diaphragm. In through the nose, out through the mouth. 1 more time, in and out. Let the head move side to side. Just assessing what you're feeling. I feel tightness left side. That's my space. I always feel. After I fascia stretch, it often feels better. Shoulders to the ears, shoulders down. 1 more time, shoulders up and shoulders down. Right away, we're gonna go down to the floor with your knees bent, stretching the back of our neck, the fascia in the back of our neck. If we're holding tension, oftentimes the back of our neck is a place that a lot of us feel it. I am going to start with my blanket. I see that's a little bit dark. Excuse me for a second while I do a little adjustment here. I think that might be a little bit better. Thanks everyone for watching. Good. I like to set people's position up before we begin. For here, think about 50-50 body weight in both of your legs, meaning the contact of your foot is the same on both sides. Imagine all 3 points, pad of the big toe, pad of the pinky toe, and your heel being in contact with the floor. That's going to send the nervous system communication down to your feet more evenly. Bring the hands back behind your head and rest down for a second. Abdominals engage and pelvis is neutral. Hover the head 1 inch off the floor. To resist, press the head back into the hands. Once you feel the back of the neck activating, use the hands to bring the head slightly forward, making sure not to crunch into the neck, but bringing the chin towards your sternum. I'll open this elbow so you can see me more. Bring it back down without resistance. Head presses back into the hands. The hands bring the head forward. Back to start. Engage your abdominals to get a little support going through there as well. Head presses back. Breathing in and out as best you can through your nose while you're stretching the fascia. 2 more here. Head presses back into the hands. Feeling how each rep changes, I find a little bit more space as that tissue starts to release. Head presses back. All the while you're focusing on the direction of your resistance and maintaining it. Head comes down to rest. Arms at your side, palms down. Press your arms into the ground. Press the back of the head gently into the ground, lengthening the back of the neck. Open the shoulders and set. Hold that contact with the floor. You're affecting fascia by adding that activation. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing your right leg up to 90-90, left leg up to meet it, and zip your legs together to begin. We're going to stretch the fascia in our upper body, in our shoulders, and between the shoulder blades and traps. This is a whole encompassing upper body fascia stretch. Take one arm, this is my right arm, I think it flips in my video, place it on top of the knee, other arm up, and on top of the other knee. Now look at your arms and make note which arm is crossed on top. For me, it's my left. So we remember when we switch. Your knees start in, your hands start in. So everything is in as close as it can be. We're gonna resist our arms as if we want to cross them back out or push the knees together. Once you feel it activate in your upper body, you're gonna use the strength of your legs to open to the side. Right about there. Back in without resistance, tummy's tight, hands press in. I'm feeling this a little bit extra in my chest and in the back of the shoulders. And open. The bonus here is that you're strengthening your core by stabilizing, and you're strengthening your glutes by doing the work to open the arms away from the resistance. Bring it back in. Try it possibly with your head up if that feels good. Hands resist in, opening the legs to the side. Good. One more time here, we're going to switch hands. Elbows are a little bit open to the side. Hands press in. And let it rest. Remember that arm that was on top for when we switch. Arms press down into the ground. Lengthen the back of the head. And press into the feet. This is called grounding. So after you stretch fascia, you want to use your muscles to get that communication solidified from your nervous system to the nerves to your muscles. Keep pressing for 5 into the floor. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Preparing for the other side. One leg up to 90-90, other leg up. Zip your legs together to begin. Now we're going to flip our arms. This time my left arm is going to be underneath as I grab the top of my knee. Right arm is going to be on top. Pull everything in to start and bend your elbows slightly. Resist your arms in or across, like they want to pull your knees together. Pause. Feel it in the chest, feel it in the shoulders, feel it in the upper back. Use the strength of your legs to open up the arms to the side. Bring it back in. Resist those hands in. Breathing. Find your challenge. I like to say that because sometimes people have a little bit extra space that they didn't realize that they had, whether it's power or energy or strength. Back in without resistance. Hands resist in. Feel it in the upper body. I'm going to lift up here again. Get a little extra core work going. My legs are going to open to the side. Let's do another one like that. Hands press in, knees open, out. Hug your knees to your chest, head comes down. One foot down at a time, using your abdominals to transition. Hands press into the floor, shoulder blades pull back and down, ribs in, back of the head, and think about your footprint in both feet. Press it into the floor, connect and ground for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rolling to your side to come up. We stretch the fascia in the back of the neck, the arms. Now we're going chest, lats, and a little bit into our core. Child's pose is a pose that many of us are familiar with. And I have a sequence of fascia stretches that will basically work from the hips up. You're strengthening your legs as you're doing it, but it feels really good. When we stretch the meridian in our body that's associated with our heart, it can help us decrease anxiety. Fascia stretching is very connected to traditional Chinese medicine, being that if you're stretching the area of the body that's in line with a certain meridian, that can affect all different parts of your body, whether it's your organs or anxiety, all these different things. So this stretch is very good for anyone who's feeling a little bit anxious right now. Making your way onto your mat. I'm going to angle it a little bit here so you can have a little bit of a better view. If you feel like you need extra cushion underneath your knees, use a blanket, a towel, or roll your mat up. Coming into your hands and knees to begin. Knees are going to be apart and feet together. Hands are below your shoulders to begin. Walking forward, now that we set up position, lift your belly, walk your hands forward a couple inches. They still are parallel in line with your shoulders. So you're not wide or in, which we will get to. Belly stays lifted, that's very important. If you're letting this drop down, you compromise your lumbar spine. Lift the rib cage up, chin tuck. The resistance here is back. So you're resisting the hands down into the ground and back as if you want to slide them towards your knees or underneath towards your belly button. Naturally, your knees will resist forward. So just hold that first. My abs are working, my arms are active, resisting back and down. As I do that, keep resisting and pull your hips back towards your knees. It's not about how far back you go, It's more about what you're feeling and what you're able to maintain in the resistance in your upper body. Shift forward, hands resist back, knees resist forward, pull back. Let your breath flow. Back up. Maybe start out with light resistance. And then as you start to feel your body adjust, you can go a little bit stronger or ease off of it. It's really individual. I'm going to take a step forward here just to change the range of motion I have available to me. I'm always resisting. That is the key to think about when you're stretching fascia, not muscle. And that's the beauty of being able to self-fascia stretch, because many of us rely on tools such as foam rollers, balls, or other people to do the work for us. Ralphine cupping. This is a way that you get to stretch your fascia without anything but the floor and a mat if you have one. Let's make our adjustment. Take your hands all the way wide. So my hands halfway on the mat, halfway off. I might go all the way off, but for sticky purposes, I'm going to keep a little bit of my hand on. Reset, chin tuck. Now feel the difference. Your arms are still going to resist down and back, but when you open up your arms, you're getting a totally different area of fascia that you're stretching. Shift forward, resist back, pull back. Let yourself breathe. Close your eyes if you want to. Thinking about pause for things that bring you a smile on your face today. If any of you missed it, you can always go back to my newsfeed and look at videos of my kids from the weekend taking 2 economy-sized bags of Quaker oatmeal and exploding it around through our entire basement, which is carpeted. If you need a smile, definitely recommend that. Keeping that focus, feel that breath. I feel extra tightness in my right shoulder blade area, so I might focus a little bit more on shifting a little bit into it. Directly thinking about the resistance coming from the area that actually feels tight. One more, arms wide, resist back, pull back, keep resisting back. Moving on, drop down to your elbows. The rhythm is still the same, the direction is still the same. We're going to be on our forearms, and our elbows and forearms are going to resist back towards our knees. Adjust your knees if you need to, belly's lifted, shift your body forward. Elbows resist back. As you continue to resist, pull your elbows in the direction of your knees, and your hips will go and move back. So you're moving your lower body to get your direction and movement going. So you're strengthening your lower body as we're stretching the fascia. You may feel this one more in between your shoulder blades, which is wonderful because we all need a little stretch there. Whew. 2 more. Resist elbows, forearms down and back towards the knees, knees forward. My elbow cracked. Cracking's okay. 1 more time. Forward, resist, pull back. Take a moment to rest. Assess how you feel. People might find that they have more openness. It's easier here to let those shoulders fall into that proper neutral position, and easier, since we stretch the back of the neck, for the head to fall more securely and supported above your body in between your shoulders. This is one of the benefits of fascia stretching. When you stretch the fascia in areas that typically are a tight area, especially with screens, which a lot of us are going to be working from home on screens, less movement. Having this available to us is very important. So stretching the back of the whole back of the neck, the upper back, and the shoulders allows us this position again. Energy can flow better, breath can flow better, so many benefits will happen once you're able to achieve more easily better posture. Shoulders. Our position and movement is the same as we just did with the child's pose, except for we're going to be to the right side and to the left side. We're going to target one shoulder area at a time. Up on the hands and knees, same position, knees are apart and feet are together. First, I'm going to walk to my right, your left. One hand stays on the mat, the other hand is just off the mat. Belly still lifted, you want to keep that support for your back. Hands resist down and back towards your opposite knee. I'm going to pause. I'm activating. I want to make sure that I feel it where I want the resistance coming from. Now my focus is a little bit more on the arm that's on the mat. I'm going to pull my hips back in the opposite direction of my hands. At the same time, when I'm about halfway down, I'm going to roll the hand that's on the mat towards the mat. Bring yourself back up without resistance. Belly lifts, hands resist back. Pull your hips back in the opposite direction. Typically, people feel, when we move to the other side, quite a difference with each side of the body. We have a lot of very powerful, solidified movements every day of our lives that make our body in balance, especially between the shoulders, between the rib cage, and each side of our body from our waist up. Waist down too, but rolling that shoulder down. Feel free to take a variation with this one where one hand supports the one on the mat. Find that resistance and really thinking about this knee and this arm that's on the mat coming towards each other. I'm adding a little bit more force here. I feel I have the space to push myself a little bit more. Bring that shoulder down towards the floor. If you have any back problem whatsoever and something doesn't feel right, or any problem whatsoever, adjust, modify, or stop doing it. And call me. Let me know. I can help give modifications that feel really, really good. Awesome job. Moving to the other side. Check in with your legs again, knees apart, feet together, tummy tight. One hand on the mat, one hand off the mat. Resistance now. Let's do both hands flat first, towards the opposite knee. That's your direction of resistance. Once you have it, pull back, and about halfway down, roll that shoulder down towards the mat. I am shaking like crazy in this arm, which is not surprising. If you remember from the beginning of class, I said, I'm feeling a little extra tightness in my right side. That tightness is causing that shaking because the congestion of the fascia is not allowing the effective movements, contractions, usage of the muscles in my arm. Oh my gosh, okay. Hopefully if you're feeling it really intense in some areas, just work through it light and then build up your resistance as you continue. Oh, this side really needs it for me, so I'm gonna do a couple extra. Take the other hand on top, let's give a variation here. Reset, re-engage. This hand's gonna resist straight towards that opposite knee. Feel it fire. Pull your hips back. Draw your shoulder down. Back up, resist. Pull back, roll down. Breath is moving at your own pace. One more time. Find that resistance. Let your body move. Feel your power, your strength. Let the breath flow. Everything is benefiting us right now. And take a seat to rest. All right, take a breath in and out. Good job. Let's work the legs a little bit. We don't want to neglect our awesome legs. Making your way onto your hands and knees. This time I am going to pull in a little bit of a cushion here. I might lose you a little bit in my frame. I think we're okay here. Okay. Hamstrings. Let me just talk about it for a moment. Oftentimes we'll lengthen and reach and stretch. That's classical stretching, and oftentimes that's overstretching. When we overstretch our muscles, we have microscopic scar tissue that's laid throughout, and also possible scar tissue at the joints as a protection move from overstretching. When that happens, we actually decrease our flexibility, which is something we don't want to do. This hamstring stretch is a really great one to do if you're about to take a yoga class online or a Pilates class online. I think this is a great way to stretch your fascia in this area, in your hamstrings, versus the potential of overstretching and compromising your lumbar spine by instability in your sacrum or in your pelvis. Runner stretch position, one knee down, one knee up. The key here is to never let your knee pass your toes. Ouch, that's not good for your knee or your back or your ankle. Square your hips up and your shoulders to the front. You can bring both hands down on either side here. You can actually keep them up as well, or hold onto a coffee table or a bench or something that you have nearby. Fascia stretching, you shorten the area that you're going to stretch. So that's why we're coming forward to stretch the hamstring of the leg that's in front. My resistance is down and back. So I'm resisting into that shortened muscle. It's hard to see in the video, but I'm waiting until I feel it right here. Now that I do, my movement is in the opposite direction. So I'm going to walk my hands back until I feel either the stretch falls off or I'm just not able to maintain it. I'm losing my foot contact. That's okay. Push the heel down and back. Maybe you get a little bit extra space. Watch your back that you're not completely hunched over, keeping your spine as straight as you possibly can. Bring yourself forward without resistance to start again. This foot resists down and back. This knee may resist forward. That's going to help. This time I'll show it to you with my upper body lifted slightly. I'm resisting the full foot down and back as I'm pulling my hips back. I'm going to start again. Maybe I'm going to bring both hands to one side. Every variation you do is unique and it's going to benefit you anyway. There's no right or wrong. There's just adjustments and modifications. Shifting forward, chest up, resist the front foot back. To me, this position feels a little bit better with both of my hands on the inside. I'm going to lift my toes, press my heel down, pull it back. You can even start here. You don't need to start that far forward. Making smaller reps, smaller range of motion works just the same. Starting right here, resisting back, pulling back. Making sure your hand on here is not on top of your knee. Just doing a couple, vary it up, see what feels good for you. This is also one that you can do standing if you're feeling a little bit compromised in your spine because of flexibility here. Taking the same position, same motion into standing. Good. Let's open up the foot a couple inches to the side. Shifting forward. Now my resistance is a little bit on the diagonal, back and on the diagonal. And pull back. I like this one. I like with my foot open a little bit. I get a little bit more of my medial hamstrings, maybe a little bit of your inner thighs or adductors. Pulling back. Always just making sure that when you're doing stretches that what you're doing is feeling good with your position and with the work that you're doing. One more time, start forward, resist that front heel back. Activate your glutes a little bit more to try to get the attachments of those hamstrings stretched as well. And let's switch sides. Good, thanks for hanging with me. Other foot comes forward. Starting first with your knee behind your toes, both hands down, one hand up, both hands here, wherever your back position feels most comfortable. I'm going to resist my front foot down and back as if I want to slide my foot like this, but it's not going to move. I'm using the connection I have with the mat as my locked in loaded space. Once I feel it in that hamstring, I'm going to start to pull it back. This is the side for me that I had a hamstring tear injury with a lot of scar tissue. Fascia stretching changed my pain and took it away in 10 minutes of work. There was direct fascia work on my scar tissue, or resistance stretching I should say, a couple of years back. Many of you have heard the story, but I will tell it again forever, that affected and changed the fascia so much that my pain went away forever. I do have some discomfort still sometimes in this leg because the muscles were damaged over time from being so compromised by that scar tissue. Meaning that my range of motion, my activation, what I'm feeling on this side is different than my left side. I'm a little bit more cautious. I'm working a little bit slower. The equation's always the same. Resist down and back into that shortened muscle and movement in the opposite direction. That's as far as I might go on this side. Open up my foot a little bit and resist a little bit down and back on the diagonal. Nice and easy. Let's do 3 more. Shifting forward, resist that front foot back. Breathing through the tissue. It is known that we hold a lot of emotions in our connective tissue in our body. A lot of it in the hips, shoulders, and when we can change that and pay attention and create health in those areas, a lot of times emotions can be released. And that's a good thing. One more time. Resist. Breath is moving. Take a seat. Shake Check out your legs. If you can't, my shirt might be backwards in the video, but it says stand together. And I chose this shirt for a reason today, as many of you probably can understand. Let's work the inner thighs just to balance out a little bit of the hamstrings that we just stretched. If you don't feel comfortable sitting up on your own like this, feel free to sit against a wall or a couch. We're going to finish up with butterfly legs, stretching the inner thigh, but also the outer thigh as well. The bonus here is we strengthen our arms while we do it. To do the inner thighs, bring your knees in first. I like to take my hands into fists and my forearms on the inside of my thighs. Press your knees in. My legs are shaking today. I think I've neglected my fascia stretches a little bit too much in the last few days. I'm opening my knees with my arms as I'm resisting my knees in. My body will come forward a little bit to counterbalance so I have a little bit more range to work from. Knees resist in and out. You can try it here. Feel, whoo, I'm shaking like a leaf. Breath is moving, your core is working. Fascia stretching can be sometimes deceiving because we have an idea of what stretching is, but fascia stretching is work in a very good way. It's a whole body communication. One more time, press in. Shaky, 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 holy moly. All right, hands are gonna move to the outside of your knee. Readjust your posture. Even body weight in your sits bones, chin tuck, ribs in. Let's just go back to the basics we started in the beginning of class. Now we're stretching the outer thigh because we're opening the knees, we're shortening this area. We resist into the shortened area. So press those knees out. Feel the activation. I have to get my left leg to show up a little bit more. Taking a moment to balance it out is really helpful. My feet are about 2 inches apart so that when I come back in, they will have space to flatten once I get to center. Open without resistance. Press your knees out as you press them in with your hands. Doing a chest fly, basically, with your upper body. Posture, core, pelvic floor pulls up, knees push out, hands push in. This is a very good one. If you are feeling stress, maybe more so stressed than anxious, this is one that you can do. You're exerting energy in that upper body and those muscles in your arms and the chest, but you're stretching the fascia in your ITB, your lateral glutes and hips. Last one, open it, press out. Knees press in, shake it out. Okay, wow. I'm realizing that I'm probably holding a lot of tension in my body. When you have that shaky, bouncing type of thing happening, that's usually a sign that you have dense fascia somewhere in the pathway that you're stretching, or that your body's just really holding on to everything right now, whether it's injury, it's stress, whatever it can be. Our body's protection mode, and the beauty of our biology is that we have systems set up in our body to help us through a lot of different times, injuries, stress, all that stuff. So this is a really good routine that you can come back to, especially that child's pose series with the arms here, resisting back to the right, to the left, and elbows. And then also that last one at the end, the butterfly hips in and out. Thank you so much for joining me. Keep tuned in. Like I said, I always try to give a little heads up when I'm about to get online and get live, but I always will save my information too. So feel free to share this with your friends. Have them add this 5 minutes of some fascia stretches before they're doing their yoga, and it will take their yoga practice so much further, or any exercise they're doing, because their practice then will feel so good. I promise it is a benefit to every single person who tries it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Take deep nose breaths in, nose breaths out. Connect with your community, connect with me, and I will see you probably tomorrow. Not sure what time, the kids are home, so schedules are all over the place, but we're figuring it out. Have a great day. Bye, everyone. Coming in.